Hello guys, welcome back to this DSA series. In this, now we're gonna see how to print patterns. So in this video in particular, we're gonna see how to print a right angle triangle pattern. So for that, so let us analyze. Let us analyze our input and output case. So let me say the input is 6. The input is 6. So for that, we provided an output of 6 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Totally 6 lines of output is provided. So, and in first line, if you check in first line only one element is provided. In second line, two elements were printed. In third line, three elements got printed. And in fourth line, four elements got printed. And fifth line, five elements got printed. In sixth line, six elements got printed. So let us write the code. Let us write the code for this problem to solve this problem. So for what is our task in first? I need to read my input. So for that, I would like to store the input. For that, to read the input, I need to use the input function to read the input. So just use the input function. And since it is an integer, input function is used to read strings data, and I need to convert the data into integer. So I'm converting it into integer. So now how many times, how many rows I want to print? So how many rows I want to print now? So I want to print. So in this, first we'll analyze how many, how many, how many rows, how many rows I want to print. So how many rows I want to print is the first question. So I want to print 6 rows because the input is 6. So I need to provide 6 rows of output. First row 1 is provided, and in second row 2 and 3 is provided. In third row 4, 5, 6 are provided, and in fourth row 7, 8, 9, 10 are provided. In fifth row 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are provided, and in sixth row some data is provided. In this way, if you can analyze totally how many rows, sir? Totally how many rows? This is first row. This is second row. And this is my third row. And this is my fourth row. This is my fourth row. And this is what my fifth row. This is my fifth row. And this is what? This is the sixth row. This is the sixth row. So whenever the input is 6, how many rows I want to print, sir? How many rows of data I want to print? I want to print 6 rows of data. Repeatedly, I am just doing the same task. That is printing the data 6 rows. So I'm just repeating the data 6 times. So in this case, you can tell me, so what I'm doing repeatedly, I am printing some data. Repeatedly, I'm printing some data. How many times? 6 times. So let us see how to write the code for this. Whenever you encountered a problem that is repeatedly doing the same task, in that case, you need to go for loops. In this case, you need to go for loops. What are the loops we have, sir? We have for loop in Python, we have while loop in Python, and we have nested loops as well. But let us go with for loop. How many times I need to iterate, sir? How many times I need to repeatedly iterate, or you can say repeatedly do the same work? I need to iterate over 6 times. Since 6 times I need to print some data, I need to iterate over 6 times. So let's say for each iteration in range of, what is the range that you provide, that many times it will iterate, sir. So I'd like to iterate over 6 times. So I am providing 6 as my range. So if you print the iter, then you can see 0 to 6, that is 0 to 5, the values got printed. Let us print and check whether they are printed or not. So let me provide my input as 6. So you can see from 0 till where, from 0 till which value my data is printed, 0 till 5 my data got printed. So if I print ITR plus 1, then you can got a understanding that you are iterating from this for loop got iterated totally of 6 times. So this for loop got iterated from 6 times. It got printing from 1 till how many elements? From 1 till 6 it got printed. So it just printing 6 times. So it just iterating 6 times and printing the value of ITR plus 1 variable. So now what I want to do, sir, in each iteration, so let me print it from this only, from range only. I want to start at 1 and end at 6. So let us print the iteration value. What do we get? We get from 1 till 6. We got the value. So let me hide this input as well. Let me comment this input as well. So let me run it again so that it will run for this particular case. You can see 1 till 6 the day it was printed. So ITR holds the value from 1 till 6. Now in first row, how many items I need to print? Only one item. How many items I repeatedly need to print? One item. In second row, how many items, or else you can say how many numbers I am printing repeatedly? How many numbers I am repeatedly printing, or else iteratively how many numbers I am printing? Only 2. In second row I am printing 2. In third row I am printing 3 elements. In fourth row I am printing 4 elements. In fifth row I am printing 5 elements. In sixth row I am printing 6 elements. So based on this, if we analyze, if we observe, then we got to understand that in first row I want to print 1 element. In second row I want to print 2 elements. In similar way, in nth row, I want to print how many elements? N elements, right? So I want to print n elements, because how do you say, sir? In first row 1 element, second row 2 elements, third row 3 elements, fourth row 4 elements, fifth row 5 elements, sixth row 6 elements. In similar way, in nth row, how many elements can I want to print? N elements I want to print. That's it. So let us see if it is ITR row. ITR is a variable. Let's say if it is a ITR row, then how many times I want to print? I want to print ITR number of elements. So ITR number of elements. Now, whenever I am currently in ITR row, so for how many elements I need to print? ITR number of elements I need to print. So to iterate ITR number of times, I need again a for loop for I in range of ITR. So this number of times the data got printed from here. So let's say, let me put end is equals to a small space here, because in inner for loop I need to print the elements based on space operation. How I need to print, sir? In inner loop I need to print in my each row, I need to print like elements with a space operation. After completing my row, after completing my first row, I need to go for new line, right? I need to go for new line. So for that, after completing this for loop, you can even write here a print statement by saying that for the next iteration, you need to enter new line, right? So you need to provide an end is equals to new line. So let us run and check what we are getting as output. You can see in first row, one element got printed. Okay. In second row, two elements got printed. In third row, three elements got printed. In fourth row, four elements got printed. In fifth row, five elements got printed. In sixth row, six elements got printed. Okay. So in this way, the pattern is printing. But I want to print the elements as well. I want to print whatever the data digits I have, those as well. In first time, what is the value? It is printing 1. In second time, it is printing 2. Then it is printing 3. Then it is printing 4. Then it is printing 5. Then it is printing 6. And so on. It was incrementing and printing each and every time. So to print like that, I need a variable. I need a variable to hold the value. I need a variable to hold the value. First, what it is printing? 1. So I need to hold the value 1 at first. I need to hold the value 1 at first. Each and every time what I need to print, I need to print that value. So each and every time I need to print that value. So whenever I got printed that value, in next time, what I need to get? I need to get the next element, that is +1 to that value. After 1, what do we have? 2. How do we get the 2? That is +1, value +1. So in my value, I have 1. To get the next value, I am just incrementing by 1. Whenever I am printing, immediately I am just incrementing my value. That's it. So let us run and see where it is working correctly or not. You can see here, first line 1 got printed, second line 2, 3 got printed, third line 4, 5, 6 got printed, in fourth line 7, 8, 9, 10 got printed, and fifth line 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 got printed, and sixth line 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 got printed. You can check here. However, the output we are required, in that way it is printed. So now, till now, what we have done is, for input 6, for input case is 6, for the input is 6, we have done this. For generalized case, for any input, let's say if I give only 5, then I need to print only up to 5 lines only. I need to print only 5 lines. So to do in that way, I just need to read an input from the user, right? So let's say whatever the input the user need to give, I'd like to store it in my variable, that is num variable. So to read the input, I'd like to use input function to read whatever the line of input that user given. To convert that into integer, I want to use an int type converter. For 6, I have given a range that is 1 to 6 till 1. For given number num, what is the range I need to give? From 1 till num plus 1 is the range that I need to provide. So let us check with generalized test cases. So let me provide a input value, that is, let me provide 4. Whether it is printing 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Whether it is printing one value incremented and like this way, these 4 lines got printed or not, let us check. Yeah, it is printed. So let us give a larger value. Let's say, let me give 20, whether it is working or not. You can see it got working. So let us check the length. 1, how many elements got printed in last 1, 2. So you can see 191 till 210. 191 till 210 means you can say those are 20 elements exactly. So 20 digits got printed. So in this way, we can solve this pattern problem. So in further, I try to explain more videos on this pattern problem. Please try to solve this problem as how you visualized. And if you like the video, please comment so that it will be suggested to more viewers, so that the content that you wish to suggest to more viewers will be reached. So I hope this video, you like this video. Please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. I even need to revise this video once again. How do we perform this? So whenever the input is 6, we just need to print our data. How many rows? 6 rows. Since 6 is the input, in 6 rows I need to print my output. During first row, I need to print only one element. During second row, I need to print only two elements. During third row, I need to print three elements. Similar way, in nth row, I need to print n elements. If my row is iteration row, iteration is the number of the row, then how many values I need to print? Iteration number of values I need to print. So since to iterate, to print n number of whatever the value that is given, that number of times to print the number of rows, I just taken for loop, outer for loop, to print that number of, to iterate over that number of iterations. In each iteration, how many digits I want to print is, what is the number of iteration, that many digits I need to print. So that's why I taken again inner for loop to print that many inner values, and to hold the value I initialized it with 1, and each and every time after printing the value I'm just updating the value, and for each row the end value should be space separated, so I just put space. To enter the next line, I just provided my end value as new line. So I hope this video is understandable to you. Must practice the code without watching the solution by your own. After that, whenever you struck, there you can watch the video again, so that you get to notice where you struck, and you get to notice, you get to learn new things more as well. This is more helpful when you solving in competitive exams. So thanks for watching. See you back in the next video. Must practice.